What up, everybody? This is Mr. Stan coming at you with another physics video. This time we're talking about how to draw a graph, and in this video we'll talk about how to put numbers on the graph. All right, so in the last video we put the titles on the graph. It's a position versus time graph because we're watching the position change as the time changes. All right, and so we have a position side on vertically going up and down, then we have the time side of the graph horizontally going left to right. So we need to put numbers on these so that we can then graph and we know what the points on the graph mean. Now, we'll look at our position numbers. We see the smallest number is 3 and that the largest number is 32. All right, so we need to make sure that the numbers 3 and 32 fit in with whatever range of numbers we have marking this graph. Now, at this point, I see students make a couple mistakes often. Here's the first mistake. You just copy the numbers from the data table onto the side of the graph, and that's not what we want to do. The reason this doesn't work is because every square needs to represent the same amount of meters, the same number of meters. So if the first bottom square represents 3 meters, then every square represents 3 meters. But you see that's not what happens. All right, up near the top we have, it goes from 26 to 32, which is 6 meters, not 3 meters. So it's not drawn to scale. If you went ahead and finished this graph like this, you would get some bad information from this graph. It would cause you to think that something was happening that was indeed not, right? Because it's not drawn to scale. Another mistake that students make a lot is just to come over and start writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's easy, right? The problem that might work sometimes, but as you can see here, if you just go by ones, the graph stops at 14, and half of the numbers on our data table can't even be graphed on this graph, right? So instead, what you need to do, right, is figure out a way to draw the numbers so that each box represents the same number of meters, but when you get to the top, you are not below 32, right? And to make the graph look good, you want to be not too far above 32 as well. All right, so what I figured out is a good way to do it would be to make every 2 squares equal to 5, right? And there's more than one way you could have done this, but this is a way that works good because now the maximum this graph can have on it is 35 meters, and our highest meter reading was 32, so it fit nicely on this graph. Next, we do the time. You notice time goes from 1 to 10, and so we have more than enough blocks on the bottom horizontal axis, so we're just going to make every square equal to 1 second, just like that. All right, so now we have a graph that has numbers and they're scaled correctly. It has axis titles and chart titles. In the next video, I'll show you how to do the actual graph. I'll see you then.